So in this video, we're going to talk about sleep. It's one of our foundational habits. So we've covered eating and moving, and now we're going to talk about sleep. And really, they're all interrelated. We should be working on all of these at the same time. And I really recommend changing small habits at a time, not trying to go big, huge, drastic changes. There's a book called, let me find the name of it, Why We Sleep, by Matthew Walker. And he says, do you sometimes wish you had a magic pill? One that could enhance your memory, increase your creativity, help with weight control, protect against cancer and dementia, make you more resilient against colds and flu, lower your risk of heart attack and stroke, increase your happiness, and decrease depression and anxiety. More than 17,000 scientific reports show that getting a full night of sleep regularly can have all these benefits. The nice thing is sleep is free, but you have to pay for it with your wisdom and your time. Sleep is foundational. Lack of sleep affects all your bodily functions. One skipped night of sleep gives the effect of being drunk. Not sleeping dramatically diminishes your performance and your psychological well-being. I used to work night shift, and I know some days I was so tired driving home from work that I probably could have been pulled over for being drunk. I used to have to stop partway. My commute is like 35 minutes. I used to have to stop halfway home and take like a 15-minute nap in a parking lot before I could drive the rest of the way home. I know I was not the safest driver on the road those days. 2/3 of the American population does not get the required 8 hours of sleep. Some people need even more than that. If you consistently get less than 6 to 7 hours of sleep, you double your risk of cancer. They've done some retrospective, I don't know if they were called as studies, but they noticed that when we spring forward and lose 1 hour of sleep, heart attacks and traffic accidents go up. When we fall back and get the extra hour, those same statistics drop. That's huge. That's 1 hour, but it's kind of like a unofficial national experiment that they can track. Multiple studies show that decreased levels of sleep are associated with increased breast cancer and colon cancer, as well as hormone dysregulation, especially hormones that control appetite. That information comes from Take a Nap by Sarah Mednick. So, why don't we sleep? We don't value sleep, really. We think we can sacrifice it. We think, oh, I'll just stay up late and watch one more episode on Netflix, and we sacrifice that extra hour of sleep. Another reason is we're inconsistent. Having a consistent bedtime and a consistent bedtime ritual is helpful for generating sleep habits, for training your brain that at this time of night, in general, we go to bed. We have multiple screens. We have our phones, iPads, our television, and getting all that blue light exposure reduces our melatonin, which in turn delays the onset of sleep and also delays the onset of deep sleep. So even once you get to sleep, it takes you longer to get deep sleep. It also stimulates cortisol, your stress hormone, due to stimulation from TV shows, internet scrolling, etc. I don't know if you've ever been having a nice relaxing night and you pop into the comments of a Facebook post and pretty soon you're mad or you're worried about something. So we want to train tranquility instead of training stress. We need to be looking at our caffeine consumption, alcohol consumption, tobacco consumption. All of those can affect your sleep. Another reason we don't sleep is we eat too late. It's recommended that you stop eating at least 2 hours before bed, preferably 4. There's a lot of bodily functions that happen when we sleep, and if your body is still digesting, it delays the ability of your body to do that. So 2 hours before bed, preferably 4. Exercising too late at night. They recommend you exercise at least 3 hours before bed. Otherwise, you're getting everything stimulated and awake, and it's harder to get to sleep. We also sometimes don't have a sleep sanctuary, a dark, cool, quiet room. Your skin, I found this incredibly interesting, your skin can sense light. Your skin can sense light. I'm saying that again because it freaks me out. I can go back and find the science on that, but they recommend no light in your room, no TV in your room, but no light. Once you turn out the lights in your bedroom, there shouldn't be any lights glowing on your TV if you still have it in your room. I have a sound machine that has a little light that shows that it's on. There's all sorts of little glowing things. Cover those up with some tape. No light in your room. If you're a night shifter, you really have to protect. You need to have blackout curtains, whatever you can do to soundproof your room. I recently, I don't know, it's been about 3 months, have started using a little sound machine. It's fantastic. I used to wake up to every little, my 19-year-old still lives at home and he tries to be quiet at night, but if I heard like one dish banging or the microwave beeping, I would sometimes wake up and then not be able to get back to sleep. So do what you need to do to cut down on sound, cut down on light. The funny thing is, when we're sleep deprived, especially if you're sleep deprived chronically, the less your body is able to sense it. You feel like you're okay. And until you start getting really good sleep, you don't realize how not okay you are. There's a Greek philosopher, Seneca, that said the worse a person is, the less he feels it. And that seems to be true. So let's talk about the influence of light. Your brain has something called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It's a pair of small nuclei in your hypothalamus above the optic chiasma, and it's thought to be concerned with the regulation of physiological circadian rhythms. So in the morning, we talked about light at night. In the morning, the sun helps us align with circadian rhythms. It's recommended, I think I said it in one of my previous videos, recommended that you, let's talk about our day shift people, that you get some sun in your eyeballs first thing in the morning, and this is the reason. It's to set your circadian rhythm so that your body gets tired. I think they said about 17 hours later from that exposure. If you're a night shifter, I would recommend when you wake up in the afternoon that you go out and get sunlight in your eyes to kind of set your circadian rhythm that direction. Get some sun in your eyes. It doesn't mean stare directly into the sun to burn your eyeballs. It's get sunlight exposure on your eyes. So looking towards the direction of the sun. And they recommend at least 10 minutes. Think about before Edison, before the invention of the light bulb, people generally slept about 10 hours a night because it was dark. You know, they had to light candles to have any light, and you can't do a whole lot by candlelight. So they just went to bed when it was dark. Now we generally get less than 7 hours with all the available light we have. Even if we turn off the lights, many of us still watch TV. Some people go to bed and scroll on their phone in bed for a while. Doing that correlates with depression. It messes up our melatonin by as much as 50% and stimulating your brain with all the content. I talked about that a little bit. It also increases cortisol. So you want to have a digital sunset. Use your technology, but use it earlier in the evening and turn it off at least 1 hour prior to bed. We want to be, the goal is to have a desire to be flourishing more than a desire to be entertained. We're being entertained at the cost of our own health. Every decision you make makes an imprint on your consciousness. That's from Abraham Maslow. We don't feel like we're making decisions when we're scrolling social media, you know, doing stuff on the internet, watching TV, but you are making decisions while all that is happening. You know, do I want to read this? Am I interested in this? Do I want to watch that? What do I think about it? You're exhausting your brain at the same time that you're stimulating. So whether you realize it or not, you're making hundreds, if not thousands, of decisions, and you go to bed in a state of mental overwhelm. So you can think about it as setting some curfews. You know, we set some curfews for our kids. Let's set some curfews for ourselves. Caffeine, it's a stimulant. It blocks adenosine. Adenosine builds up during the day, and then it tells your brain that you're tired when it builds up to a certain level. Caffeine doesn't actually give you any energy, it just masks your fatigue, and it has a half-life of 4 to 6 hours. So stop any caffeine intake 4 to 6 hours before bed. For some people, it's way longer. I know I used to be able to drink a cup of coffee at 5 o'clock at night and go to bed just fine. Now, if I have coffee after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I notice the effect. So figure out what works with your body if you're drinking caffeine. For exercise at least 3 hours before bed. We talked in our MOVE module about exercise gives you a 12-hour mood boost. Really recommended to take advantage of that during the day and not at night. And then exercise closer to bed can keep you awake. So 2 reasons to exercise earlier in the day. Eating, we recommend you stop eating 4 hours before bed, but 2 hours at a minimum. And then working, give yourself a chance to recover from work before bed. Shut everything down. Don't be working on work stuff right before bed, or you're going to go to bed thinking about it. And any technology at least 1 hour before bed. So when you pick your tiny goals, there's some categories that you can pick one tiny step that you could change. Maybe you turn off the TV 15 minutes before you usually do, and you do a meditation, or you read a real book, not on technology. However tiny you want to make it, we recommend you make a sleep goal. And when I say we, I don't know who we is. It's me. I recommend. We tend to train excessive consumption of information, but we don't train our tranquility. We don't train how do we quiet our brain down. We have so much stuff, so much input swirling around in our brains. We have to train ourselves to relax. One of the ways you can do it is to take a walk without any technology inputs. Do some breathing exercise, do some meditation, prayer, anything that brings tranquility. Getting your thoughts out on paper just so that they're out of your head, your brain thinks you dealt with it, and it's on paper. We'll talk more about that in further modules. And then we want to be consistent. I said in the beginning, inconsistency is one of the reasons we don't sleep. The more consistent you are, the better you will fall asleep. You train your brain to fall asleep about the same time. Consistent bedtime and a consistent bedtime routine. Learn what works, know your protocol. I know a lot of you that have kids, set up routines for your kids. Maybe you have snuggle time on the couch while you watch a show, and then you have bath time, and then you read a book, and maybe you have a little song you sing to your child, and then you put them to bed, and they start associating that with going to sleep. You can do the same thing for yourself. You figure out what your routine is, and your body will follow. Your body likes to automate your habits. And so you have to repeat them for your body to automate them. So learn what works, and then, we consider that your protocol. This is my protocol. This is what I do at night. Napping. Naps are awesome. We are the only creature that tries to get all of its sleep in one event. In ancient Rome, there was a precise time to take a nap, and we know that, like Spanish cultures and Mexican culture, they have the idea of a siesta. In ancient Rome, the time was the 6th hour, which is noon. In our working days, we don't really have an opportunity to do that. But if you're at home, learning to take a nap is like, that's not what I meant to say. Learning after taking a nap is like learning after a full night of sleep. Little 15 to 20-minute naps can help reset your brain. Research out of Harvard tells us that a nap as short as 6 minutes can significantly boost your brain power. Multiple studies show that midday naps do not interfere with nighttime sleep. In many cases, it can actually improve your ability to sleep at night, as long as you don't sleep too late. So some of the resources that I got this information from is a book called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, The Sleep Revolution by Arianna Huffington, Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson, Take a Nap, Change Your Life by Sarah Mednick, and When, The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing by Daniel Pink. So in case you're interested in learning to sleep better, there are probably some resources I should look for about what are some things that we can do when we work night shift, because it's a challenge. I know the best possible option when you work night shift is to always stay on the same sleep schedule, but I know that doesn't always work well for having life with your family and getting things done around town. So it's challenging. I understand it, but we need to protect our sleep. We need to aim for at least 7 hours of sleep a day for our best health. All right, on to the next.